In the fading light of the 18th century, a figure of towering ambition and controversial legacy carved his name into the annals of history. Napoleon Bonaparte, born on August 15, 1769, in Corsica. This military genius and ruler of France would cast a long dark shadow over Europe, marked by conquest. Tyranny was deeply flawed in others, especially regarding women's rights, where it reinstated patriarchal authority, reducing women to mere subjects under their husband's control. Napoleon himself and Queen Marie Antoinette, it was under the shadow of this guillotine, an infamous symbol of revolutionary justice, that Napoleon's understanding of power and politics was honed. During the Terror, the Committee of Public Safety, led by figures such as Maximilien Robespierre, Georges Danton, and Jean-Paul Marat, wielded near absolute power, their governance fueled by paranoia and the desire to protect the revolution from its enemies. Ottoman prisoners, a decision heavily criticized and debated. Some accounts, notably from Antoine Jean Gros' painting Bonaparte visiting the plague victims of Jaffa, suggests that Napoleon also entered a plague hospital, a scene designed to portray him as a compassionate leader, though this contrasts sharply with the brutality. Napoleon's treatment of his political rivals was equally harsh. His rise to power after the French Revolution saw him confront a deeply divided and turbulent political landscape. However, its progressive strides were juxtaposed with a reinforcement of patriarchal structures and a curtailment of certain individual freedoms, reflecting the complex socio-political landscape of Napoleonic France. Napoleon, a pragmatic ruler, understood the need for a stable legal framework to consolidate the gains of the French Revolution and ensure societal order. This widespread adoption underscored its significance as a cornerstone of modern civil law, yet also disseminated its patriarchal and authoritarian elements. The drafting of the Napoleonic Code involved several legal scholars, the most notable being Jean-Jacques Regis de Cambacérès, who played a pivotal role in its formulation. The process of drafting and discussing the code was exhaustive, with over 14,000 letters of correspondence between Napoleon and his legal team, reflecting the meticulous care taken in its creation. The chaos of the revolutionary period, with its myriad legal systems and the abolition of feudal privileges, necessitated a new cohesive legal structure. The Napoleonic Code was a monumental effort in this direction, embodying Enlightenment principles such as equality before the law and the sanctity of private property. It abolished privileges based on. To consolidate his power, he employed a range of tactics to neutralize his opponents. Despite these advancements, the code had a darker side, particularly in its treatment of women and the family structure. It firmly entrenched male authority within the family, giving husbands extensive control over their wives. For instance, while divorce was made more accessible compared to the pre-revolutionary era, it was still heavily skewed in favor of men. Women needed their husband's consent for legal transactions and were restricted in their rights to own and manage property. This patriarchal bent was a reflection of Napoleon's own views on gender roles. He is famously quoted as saying, "Nature has made woman our slave. Her proper and natural mission is to be a wife and mother." Additionally, the code's impact on personal freedoms was ambiguous. While it promoted individual rights in some areas, it also limited freedoms in others. For instance, it reinforced the authority of employers over their workers and restricted workers' rights, a move seen as a concession to burgeoning industrial interests in France. It also curtailed certain civil liberties, such as freedom of speech and press, reflecting Napoleon's broader authoritarian tendencies. The code's influence extended far beyond France's borders. It served as a model for legal systems in many European countries as well as in Louisiana, United States. Imprisonment and exile were common tools in his arsenal against those who opposed or threatened his rule. Notable among his political opponents was the Duke of Enghien, a member of the Bourbon royal family who was accused of conspiring against the regime. The Duke was arrested swiftly, tried, and executed in 1804, a move that drew widespread condemnation and was seen as a stark example of Napoleon's ruthlessness. Another example of his treatment of political adversaries was his handling of the alleged conspiracy of Georges Cadoudal and Jean-Charles Pichegru, both staunch opponents of Napoleon. The conspiracy, uncovered in 1804, led to the arrest and execution of Cadoudal and the mysterious death of Pichegru in prison, believed by some to be a murder orchestrated by Napoleon's secret police. Under Napoleon, the state's control of the massacre, despite its military setbacks, the Egyptian campaign significantly influenced European culture, igniting a fascination with Egyptology. The architectural and artistic styles inspired by this Egyptomania were evident, and censorship, overseen by his police minister Joseph Fouché, was pivotal in suppressing opposition. Newspapers were censored and publications critical of the regime were banned. This network not only rooted out political conspiracies, but also created an atmosphere of fear and compliance. Napoleon's approach to dissent extended beyond the political elite to the general populace, especially in territories under his control. His handling of the rebellion in Spain exemplifies this, where the French forces' response to the uprising in Madrid in May 1808 was marked by brutality. The repression of the Spanish uprising, depicted hauntingly in Francisco Goya's painting, the 3rd of May 1808, was a harbinger of the savage warfare that characterized the Peninsula War. The Napoleonic Code, officially known as the Code Civil de France, enacted on March 21, 1804, stands as one of the most significant legal reforms of modern history. Crafted under the auspices of Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte, this comprehensive body in various European cities, the scientific findings of the campaign, especially in Description de l'Egypte, had a profound impact on understanding ancient Egypt, contributing significantly to fields like archaeology and anthropology. Napoleon's leadership in Egypt showcased his strengths and weaknesses. His inspirational leadership and innovative tactics were evident, but the campaign also exposed his miscalculations. Regarding logistical and cultural challenges in foreign lands, the hardships endured by his troops, from diseases like the plague to the extreme climate, underscored the harsh realities of extended military campaigns in unfamiliar territories. Napoleon's iron discipline in ensuring military victories through extreme measures left an indelible mark in military history. Napoleon Bonaparte, revered for his military genius, maintained a strict regime of led to widespread purges. The streets of Paris and other cities were scenes of constant fear as the guillotine claimed victim after victim, including notable figures. His reign, though marked by remarkable military and administrative achievements, was also characterized by rigorous discipline and harsh treatment of dissent, which were instrumental in consolidating and maintaining his power. Napoleon is often quoted as saying, "The battlefield is a scene of constant chaos. The winner will be the one who controls that chaos, both his own and the enemy's." Within the ranks of the Grand Army, discipline was stringent and often brutal. Napoleon's military code, deeply influenced by the need for order and efficiency, imposed severe punishments for desertion, insubordination, and other breaches of military conduct. Desertion, a common issue given the extensive and grueling campaigns, was particularly harshly punished. Deserters, when caught, faced court-martial and execution by firing squad, a fate that befell thousands during his campaigns. For lesser offenses such as insubordination or theft, flogging or hard labor were common sentences. This harsh military discipline was, like the Girondins and Dantonists, Napoleon, observing this turmoil as a young general, learned crucial lessons about leadership in times of crisis. His statement, "The revolution is over. I Am the Revolution reflects his belief in the necessity of a strong central figure to ensure the survival and success of revolutionary ideals. This conviction guided his actions when he took power, emphasizing stability and order, crucial elements he believed were lacking during the Terror. Napoleon's Egyptian Odyssey, a tale of conquest, knowledge, and controversy. Napoleon Bonaparte's Egyptian campaign, which began on May 19, 1798, and culminated in 1801, was a daring military and scientific venture, embarking from Toulon with a fleet of 400 ships and 54,000 men, including 35,000 soldiers. Napoleon sought not just to disrupt British trade with India, but also to establish French influence in the Ottoman Empire. His landing in Alexandria on July 1, 1798, marked the beginning of a campaign that was as groundbreaking in scientific discovery as it was in military. Once declared, the battlefield is a scene of constant chaos. The winner will be the one who controls that chaos, both his own and the enemy's. This chilling insight into his strategic mind lays bare the cold calculus of war that defined his reign. Can we fathom the depth of despair felt by those who lay in the shadow of such a colossal figure? Can we hear the silent pleas of the countless who were trampled beneath the march of an ego that knew no bounds? Prepare to embark on a journey into the heart of a paradox where enlightenment and tyranny walked hand in hand. Welcome to the diary of Julius Caesar Napoleon Bonaparte, the revolutionary maverick in the chaotic aftermath of the French Revolution, a period marked by radical social and political upheaval beginning in 1789. Napoleon Bonaparte, a young artillery officer of modest Corsican origin, emerged as a pivotal figure. His ascendancy from relative obscurity to the heights of imperial power is a narrative filled with cunning opportunity and the strategic exploitation of a nation in flux. Accompanying Napoleon was a remarkable assembly of over 160 scholars and scientists, forming the Commission of Sciences and Arts. This diverse group embarked on an extensive study of Egypt as vast history and natural environment, laying the groundwork for modern Egyptology. The discovery of the Rosetta Stone in 1799 by French soldier Pierre-François Bouchard was a seminal moment, providing the key to deciphering ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. Their work, compiled in the monumental Description de l'Egypte, published between 1809 and 1828, was a monumental contribution to human knowledge. However, the military campaign faced significant challenges. The Battle of the Pyramids, a notable victory for Napoleon on July 21, 1798, demonstrated his military prowess, yet also underscored the logistical difficulties of operating in Egypt. The French fleet's destruction at the Battle of the Nile by Admiral Horatio Nelson on August 1, 1798, was a severe blow, effectively stranding Napoleon's army. This defeat highlighted the strategic vulnerability of overseas campaigns and the importance of naval power, a lesson. Napoleon's rule was heavily influenced by the Reign of Terror, a notorious period during the French Revolution from September 5, 1793 to July 28, 1794, profoundly shaping Napoleon's ascent and governance. This era marked by radical political turmoil and bloodshed. Napoleon's campaign in Egypt, which began in 1798, unfurled not only the banners of war, but also a trail of destruction and cultural plunder. The Battle of the Pyramids on July 21, 1798, not only crushed the Mamluks' forces, but also left a deep scar on the Egyptian populace. The Jaffa massacre in 1799 was a horrific event, where the French army under Napoleon's direct command executed over 2,000 prisoners of war who had surrendered in cold blood. This massacre stands as a dark stain on the sands of Jaffa, forever marking it with the indelible ink of atrocity, turning to Spain. The Peninsula War from 1807 to 1814 unveils another chapter of brutality, the infamous Dos de Mayo uprising in Madrid, followed by the harrowing executions the next day, epitomizes the ruthless suppression under Napoleon's rule. Cities like Zaragoza and Valencia bore witness to the relentless bombardment and the untold suffering of civilians. The infamous painting, the 3rd of May 1808 by Francisco Goya, captures a single chilling moment of this horror, immortalizing the stark brutality and the resilience of those who faced the grim realities in the Peninsula War. But the darkness of Napoleon's reign was not confined to battlefields, his code Napoleon revolutionary in some aspects. And the guillotine's grim efficiency saw the execution of around 16,000 to 40,000 people, including King Louis XVI. Ambition. Napoleon would carry forward the siege of Jaffa, conducted from March 3rd to March 7, 1799, is infamously remembered for the Jaffa massacre. Following the city's capture, Napoleon ordered the execution of over 2,000, discipline and control both within his army and in his treatment of political adversaries. Encapsulated in Napoleon's own words, "Every soldier carries a marshal's baton in his pack," emphasizing the rewards for loyalty and the consequences for dissent. Extended into the realm of ideas and public opinion, the establishment of a vast network of surveillance of civil law modernized and unified French law, influencing legal systems worldwide. Birth established a merit-based judiciary and streamlined the legal system, making laws clear and accessible. In countries like Italy, the Netherlands, Belgium, Spain, and Portugal, versions of the code were adopted, spreading its principles and also its flaws across continents.